G'day, I'm Adrian, and this is my place. G'day everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm really pleased you stopped in. I've got heaps to show you today. I've got a ton of footage that I've filmed over the last 10 days, I guess. So far it's taken me a while to put the editing together. It's not as easy as I thought. I'm filming this weekend a tank rescue and take that from a pretty sorry state. Oh no, you want to hop down, sorry. Take that from what is a pretty sorry state now to hopefully something easy to maintain and spectacular to look at. It's in the centerpiece of the living room, so I want to make it nice for these guys. In fact, those neighbours are the owners of Riley. Ziggy's the best mate in the whole world, so he loves to go and visit him. And they're also the same guys that gave me this incredible ginger. So it's an ornamental ginger. It's beautiful. I will hopefully have the botanical name up on the screen now. And I just put that together with some air plants and some bromeliads and made it a feature of my place as you walk out, looking out towards the mountains. So anyway, go and get comfy because I'm going to talk about fish. Okay, so welcome to Not My Place. So we're at one of my neighbours' places, and I came over for dinner one time and saw this. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I've decided to do a segment every now and again when the right time comes along to do a tank rescue. So what I'm planning on doing with this one is doing a full rescape from start to finish, and to take you through how to fix a tank if you've got a tank like this, because I'm sure lots of people have. And I'm also going to do other things like setting up tanks for kids and how to plan your tank ahead, knowing that you want to get to a result that's easy to take care of. You won't kill the fish like the owner of this tank has done previously on multiple occasions, and that it's enjoyable and you actually enjoy the tank every time you walk past it. This one is being viewed from 3 sides, so we need to keep that in consideration as well. The hood and the stand's a bit shabby at the moment, so I'm going to take those today and give them just some sort of structural touch-ups here and there, and also paint them. And then what I'm going to do is we'll film this rescape, which you'll see in this video, of course, the end result, and we'll actually get to the point of hopefully a really beautiful tank in a really beautiful home. So stay with me. I'm going to get into that now. I really want this video to be an example of how you can do this by yourself without having any skills at all. It's really not that hard, and it can be done quite cheaply. And the reality is, having a beautiful tank in what is a beautiful room at Clint's place, but having a beautiful tank in your own home is something that I think is so rewarding. And to miss out on that just because you either don't think that you have the skills or don't think that you have the money, for me is a waste, really. So look. So I'm going to take you through pretty quickly each step that I'm going to do. I've already cleaned the tank out. I didn't film that because that's pretty stock standard. But I will show you now how I'm going to repair the frame and also the lid. And also the tank was in back to front. The things that gave it away are the holes at the back of the tank is where the equipment goes in, and also this sticker. Now, that's usually done by someone who notices a scratch on that side, and it's better to have the other one around the other way. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but just as a tip moving forward, that would be how you tell the way the manufacturer set up the front and the back of the tank. Fortunately, I grew up in an age of if something was broke, you fixed it. So my pop, my dad, taught me everything that I know about repairing stuff and actually not throwing it away. And I think this is an ideal project if you have a child and you want to get into something with them, you want to teach them how to use their hands. This is ideal, particularly because it involves not only the rectification side from the practical perspective, but also it will teach them how to build. I know, sorry, I'll chuck the ball for you. It will teach them how to build a piece of nature and then keep it alive You know, so it's something that's rewarding ongoing. The fact that your tank will stay on the stand for another 5 or 10 years, and because of what you did to it, is something that you know, certainly something that I remember when I used to repair stuff like that with my dad, and hopefully moving forward will be something that you guys can share. So anyway, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to maybe throw the ball for another couple more minutes because he will be a nightmare otherwise. And I'm going to show you the cost all the way through. So every dollar to scrounge around and scavenge like I'm going to do as well. Anyway, I'll get into it. So you'll see it's not in great shape, but it's also not too bad. It's quite sturdy. The frame, this bit of timber here, of course, is had it. It's completely rotted away. Same with this bit here, although that's actually quite firm under it. I'll probably be able to repair that. The other side still seems to be reasonably intact, which is good. Nothing wrong with the frame. All I've done here is scratch all the foam off with a spatula. I've got new hinges as well because this hinge is broken here. So I'm going to go through and do that, and once it's cleaned up, I will give it a paint. I've got some white paint there as well. Alright, Zig, how dirty you are underneath. You can't really see that from there, but you need a bath. I know, kick the ball. I thought now's a good time with the sun on here. You might be able to see some of the scuff marks and the hard water marks. So with an old tank, yeah, sheriff's going off. Oi, enough. Hey, thank you, enough. No, hop on your bed. Zig, get on your bed. Sit. 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 Thank you. Go back to sheriffing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So there's a product you can use called CLR here in Australia. It's the same in the US. I'm going to use methylated spirits, which in the US is called methylated spirits, and give it a crack and just see what happens there, because I'm not sure it'll come off. I think I certainly want to get it onto these, the plastic. So this is where the old backing tape was, and I want to get some. We use eucalyptus oil or tea tree oil usually to get that off, but I'll see how I go with the metho. But other than that, it looks pretty good, pretty clean, and I think it will be great. I'm not sure. There's a couple of spots down here that may, in fact, if that was the front right-hand corner, would coincide with where some of that damp spot was. So I'm going to reseal this as well. Not completely. I'm not going to pull it apart. I'm just going to fix the bits and pieces where I think it should be filled. So anyway, I'll do that now. Okay, so the metho did a little bit, but not much. It's an old tank. You're not going to get it perfect, that's for sure. And the back looks the same as the front, well, the front looks the same as the back. So I wasn't able to get this sticky garbage off here, no matter what I used. So I am going to, sunlight there. So what I'm going to do, I have done, swapping them around. So I've just used a razor blade, just cut up the edge of the glass, and then I've taken these two off what was the front, but is actually now the back, and I'm gonna stick them back on there with silicone tomorrow. But I'm gonna let it dry out tonight at least before I silicone that, and then I have found a couple of other spots in here, so I'm just going to give it a quick hit with some metho around the bottom so it dries out, and then I can get into that tomorrow. But I'm going to go and start on the lid and the stand now. So that's it now after a sand and a clean. Got all the rotten timber out. I'm going to replace this bit over here as well. See, I've done the same thing, just sanded it back so it's nice, solid, firm timber, nothing wet or rotten in there now. So next job is to, I'm going to paint that, but I'm also going to put a reflective coating on it so the light is brighter inside the tank. But I'm going to let it dry now, same as the silicone. For tomorrow, and I'll get it done then. part of the prep work for the tank, what I have to do is keep kicking the ball for zig. I've given this one a spray and it's gone pretty good, I think. I'm going to put some black matting in here. I'm about to give this one a quick spray. It's a bit late in the day, but I want to get it done so it's dry for the install. Righto, an update on what I've done. I've given it a refresh paint. Probably could do with another one, another sand back, but I have done that. I've replaced the hinges. I'm doing a really light spray in here because what I'm going to do is cover that tomorrow. And I guess you'll see that shortly, but that's the stand done and the hood. Now these guys in here are the lids that I've made. So I've just screwed them in so they don't come off. That's essentially going to keep the moisture from getting to the top of that tank again, and this will actually allow for feeding and then putting back on, and it doesn't really, this tank then is sort of unrestricted as to what sort of fish you can keep in it. Same on this side, this is more for sponge filter maintenance and so forth. Speaking of those guys, I've got them floating in here. These have been floating for a bit, and as you can see are full of all the yummy bacteria and goodness. So I put the backing on here, that was fun, not. So I've just reversed it around. I've got that light as well. So it should, I don't want it to be super bright because fish don't like to be sunburnt every day, so I'm thinking that will be enough. If not, I'm going to set the brackets up so I can just get the next size up. But that's it now as far as the prep work goes, and so tomorrow I'm going to go across to my neighbour's place and scape it and set it all up, which is really exciting. I've also got a few things like I'm going to have a continuous siphon, which I've already cut for here, so that water changes will just be turning a valve on this side of the tank. So I've just got to grab that valve in the morning before I head over. But I lay some alfoil down now underneath it. It's something that I do and have done for forever with my hooded tanks, is I put alfoil on to reflect the light back down. Take some of Mrs. Fisherim's alfoil to do that. I'm going to do the top of this hood here. I'm going to lay some silicone down, just a really fine sort of smear, and then just lay the alfoil back over the top of it. Then I'm going to screw the light down on top of that. Now, as far as the, I guess the ongoing maintenance is concerned, this is Ziggy's bed in the middle here. Sorry, Zig. So what I've done is I've set up what is going to be a manifold. Is that good, mate? And a drainage system. So I've got another pipe, which I'll show you now, which is this one here. So it's going to go in here and right in the corner as a permanent siphon system. And I think that'll be the outlet that I end up getting on there. What I'm going to do is heat the plastic tube that I've got for the risers, and anywhere I've got threads to make sure they stay in tight. But this one will stay down there. This pipe will go down the back and then join to this pipe right here. So then that will come up down into the tank and be sitting about here. That will have enough fall for the water to drain out once the tap here. So I've actually put a couple of decent fasteners on here. I'll do probably another one here as well, but basically you want to be able to move this tap without too much of a problem, and of course doing it from this side of the tank. You know, that's his new toy I just bought him. He wants me to throw that for him, don't you? Hey, it's a new squeaky one you can't destroy too easily. Anyway, so that's where it is up here, and when it's in line running parallel, it's actually Can you see that there? Inline parallel is open and 90 degrees perpendicular is off. I don't know how that looked because I was around the other side. Now, what you do with that then is entirely up to you, because this is the drain line that I've got, and I've just got it sitting in here. So basically that's to hide it once it's not being in use. And then this would then just be into a bucket, or you could attach a drain hose here and just run it out the door if that's what you want to do. And then when you're finished, it just goes back in this connection here, and then it's hidden from view from the outside of the tank. So you do love this toy, don't you, boy? Yeah, that's it on the update. I will explain that to my neighbour when I put it in, but probably not in as much detail, so I might just film you doing that right now. So you should be able to see, hopefully with the camera there, that I've pretty much got a silicone smear over the whole thing, particularly that unprotected timber there. So it will no longer absorb water, and it's just a really fine smear of silicone that the alfoil will stick to now. So that's a little bit more fiddly, but anyway, I'll jump into it. Oakley dokley, this is the fun bit, or one of the other fun bits. I actually really enjoy this part, which is the plumbing side and I guess the technical side. So if you're a fish and or plumbing nerd, you'll probably enjoy this. So I bought 4 sponge filters, 2 to go into the tank as seasoned filtered sponge filters. So they're in the sump at the moment. I did have 2 other spares that I was going to use just as gauges for height and a few things as I'm doing this setup. But I think what has happened is Ziggy's found them the other day and has taken one. So I'm sure I'll find it somewhere in pieces. So I'm going to have to use another one somewhere. But I was going to use those 2 as mechanical filters just to get the process going. Once that was done and the tank had settled, I'll bring the 2 bacteria-filled ones over from the tank. So what I'm going to do, I have done already, and I'll just show you how, is supercharge these things as an uplift air filter. So as you can see, the standard airlift tube doesn't really fit too easily into this is a 3/4 or 19mm tube. So I'll just find that other one. Where did that one go, Zig? Did you take it? Okay, if you hang around to the end of the video, you will see in the bloopers where that was. Okay, so what I was saying was I have to get that into there. So all I've done, and also by expanding this, it actually allows the next size pipe. You can see the first unheated end there compared to the heated end there. So it actually takes up more space. So all I do is very lightly just warm the pipe up inside and out. Now if you're going to use this for fish straight away, you give this a bit of a clean and a wash afterwards. Expand it out around in circles until it fits in, and then it should get to the bit that's not heated and tighten up like so. And they should be, in theory, equal distances. I've decided to keep this up higher. I could cut this in half and then just have this pushed all the way down, but the reality is I actually like seeing the air go through there and whether or not it's going to be blocked, and also if the tube has come off, because this tube will go down through the hole and connect on the bottom one of these air lines. So just in relation to that, I don't heat the air lines because usually, unless they're the small 4mm black stuff, they tend to hold better once they go on like so cold. So all I need to do to show you how this works Just feed that through there. Now what I'm going to do, I think, is I can either drill the top of these out, and I have done before, or the back of them out, and then that's slide this pipe through it, because ultimately what I want is this main airlift tube here will go over this black tube here, tighten up on that joint there. This will go, I'm thinking I could either drill it here and bring it out of here, which I know that Ross does from RC Aquariums, and I think it works really well, or I could drill a hole in the top of or the back of this and slide this through it and up and over. So I'm not 100% sure which way I'm going to do that yet, so I'll just have a think about it, and then I'll get straight back to you. Okay, so I've thought about it and actually put one in place. I decided that I'd go through the back here. I've got a bit of flexibility as far as the height's concerned, which is good. Now, the way that I did it was pretty simple. Let me just adjust the camera for you a bit. It's probably better. Okay. So I've worked out that these screw in nice and tight into these risers, which will give me the flow, which is great. So that's essentially sealed. What I want to do is just drill through the back here, doing this on the glass tank, but I need to show you. And I just put the drill in on an angle, so that can assist that to go through there. Then I grab the other bit of the airline here, squeeze it, so I've got an exactly the same size bit, maybe even fractionally smaller, and I just keep it nice and tight so that the air won't come racing back out of there. So what that has done is, I think it's more functional for my neighbour to be able to do this. He's actually my mate rather than my neighbour, he's both, I guess. So now what happens is bring enough tube through, slide the airline right through to this end, and then this tube will slide inside here. There'll be no more, the air goes up obviously, not coming down, but it's also a bit bent, which is great, and then it fits over this socket piece nice and tight, which is brilliant. And then all I need to do is then insert this connector nice and tight, push it down. Remember, do that one cold, and pull him back up. Now we've got a bit of flexibility, so what I'm going to do is push it on, and again it's nice and tight, which is good. So when the sponge filters need to be changed, I'd be taking this black section off the top of the sponge, like so, and then taking this out into another bucket is the way I think you'd make as little mess as possible, or the least amount of mess. Okay, so that's the conversion done. Standard sponge filter, standard top, supercharged or turbocharged riser, and then the directional head out there with the airline going through the back. This will now go over and down onto the air pump. So most likely I'll run it flat out. I may set up a manifold where I join them with the T and have a control valve for each one, but I'll see how I go once we get over there. So these guys are ready to go. Okay, so it's Thursday, which is my Friday for one of my jobs, and I am just heading to the creek to actually, I've been obviously collecting some rocks there, as you can see, but I need to get some driftwood for this rescue tank that I'm going to do on Saturday. So I thought I might show the process of doing that. I don't know where I'm going to find some, but I've got a bit to choose from. So anyway, I shall
head into the water. There's one cool piece, but I don't really feel like getting that wet, to be honest. It's actually pretty cold here. It was 10 degrees overnight, so I think I'm going to leave that pre-soaked one in there, and I can see some more stuff over there, so I'll cross at a different point and see if I can find something worth collecting. I know these are pretty short and random clips, but how good a rock is that? Just for a flat rock in a tank that you can have cories sit on. I haven't got back here yet. I'm still working back my way towards the car, but there's a lot of rocks to walk over. Alright, so I did see some fish dart over there, but that's not why I'm walking up here. I just thought I'd walk up this little section of the creek for a minute and see if I can see any logs or driftwood, but it looks pretty clean actually. There's usually a few eels, just smaller ones in here when it's this sort of full. Anyway, I'll keep searching. I didn't find an eel or any timber, but have a look at that rock. Is that an awesome rock, or is that an awesome rock? It's pretty big too. Oh, too big for me to carry as much as I'd like to do that, but the lines in it are amazing. Alright, making my way downriver. So it's getting dark and I still haven't found anything. This is the old bridge, obviously. I could go down in there, but I don't want to get wet. There's something down there. There's a nice log there, actually. I don't know if that's loose, if that's a root. Maybe. I've got to have a look at that one. And then on the other side, there's a heap in this tree. Just got to watch where I step on and go through the hole. So I sort of got to do a monkey climb through there. Oh, the liverwort looks good on that rock down there. But yeah, if you can see all the stuff in there's another one. It depends on the time of day. I don't mind doing it, but at the moment I'm cold. I'll see how I go. Yeah, I thought I might try to go around it, but that's too snaky for me. Into snake season, and I don't have any shoes on, so I might risk it if I was really desperate. But I think I've got some wood at home as well. I might have another look down the creek one more time. And there's a clump of stuff down here I'll just check out. We have about, this is just a small section of river, about 4.5 k's, or it's about 2 miles of creek frontage or river frontage, so it's that bit. Oh yeah? I don't mind that. I don't know if it's hardwood really, but I'll just soak it. It's too small for anything really. Anyway, I know I've got stuff at home. I'll take this one and I'll show you the haul of the rock. Alright, so that's it for my hardscape journey today. I did promise Mrs. Fish, I didn't promise, I just said I probably wouldn't play in the creek today. Mrs. Fishroom, I'm sorry. That looks a bit like Blixer to me. It's quite a nice soft grass. So we'll see how that goes. I've got one of the rush plants. Small rocks, big rocks, some very cool looking ones. So anyway, I am going to head for home. I promise this time.
Okay, the day's finally arrived. I'm over here at my mate's place. We're going to set up the tank. Zeke's here. He's with his best mate Riley, who I don't know if you can see in the shot below. I'll put some footage of them up playing. It's pouring outside at the minute, but there's 2 aggressive cats, so Ziggy can't stay inside because he will chase them. So they're going to go outside, and I'm going to get cracking on this tank. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it comes up, actually. And I'm also going to put all the pricing of all the stuff that I've done for this specific tank up, so you can see the actual cost of it. And then from there, we'll you can work out whether or not it's worth doing to your own tank. So there you go. I'm going to get into it. So the first thing to do is to get the constant siphon set up. I explained that previously. So now I just need to measure it so that there's no tension on it. I usually would bend the pipe like so. I don't have pipe cutters. but my faithful tin snips are always good. Okay, now what I want to do, stick it properly, take it out of there, put this in a more agreeable position. Another plumber's trick, if you don't know what to do, a little bit of lubricant, a bit of spit on that makes it go on so much easier. Okay. Okay, so that thing goes up. I'll just stand up so I can see what I'm doing. So I just moved the camera around so you could see that basically now that will, once charged, be a constant siphon that valve will open. Now, also on here, just to show you, I've actually got a couple of clips. So this is just a push-on hose fitting, went with the same barb as the elbow. Had a thread which I've just sort of broken a bit and bent out so that this pipe fitted, or this screed here fits right over the top of it. So it's easy to take off and clean, and also put back on with a little bit of tension. So what I want to do there is use the angle of the pipe. So because it's all been bent before, head it back into the corner. So then that is completely hooked up, and as you can see, that amount of volume of water coming down once the valve's open will come straight down there. That can go out into the bucket and or a hose. You can put a drain hose on that and just drain it straight outside in one go if you like, so if you have to get it all out. But there you go, now on the inside. So this is a quick catch up because I have actually had a beer delivered and I forgot to hit record on the time lapse. So what I'm going to do is I'm setting this up so it can be viewed from 3 sides, and I want to make it easy so that maintenance, the sponge filter will just slide in and out around the hardscape. So I want functionality with everything with this tank, because I want to show you how easy it is actually to keep fish. The reality is a few things like the behind the scenes drainage, and then also the way that we set up the hardscape to actually be cleaned is really important. So what I've done, I wasn't really sure about how I was going to do this tank, and I definitely want a river style, and I've got some Elodia and some Val, which the Valison area I like to flow. So what I'm trying to do here is get a flow from this side coming this way. I will have flow this way, so that will congregate the most of the Elodia and stuff in here. So again, it's probably just more the thought of how it's going to look at the end and how it's going to function at the end, as opposed to how it looks right now. So I will put time lapse on, I promise. I've only had, like, what have I had? 2/3 of a beer, so I am a very cheap drunk. I don't drink any more than usually 2, possibly 3 maximum in any type of session. So yeah, I'm a lightweight, I know. So and this is Riley too, by the way. So Ziggy's gone home. Riley is a beautiful dog. I know I've shown you before, Riley boy, but how cute is he sitting there watching me do the tank? He's such a good boy. I see why Ziggy, he loves you as much as he does. Hey, beautiful boy. Anyway, now I'm getting back into it. Okay, so that is the finished, or somewhat finished version of the hardscape. So I've, sorry if you can see the hose in there. It's probably taking away from what I'm trying to achieve, but I wanted this angle. This is one tree root, but I also wanted something sharp coming out this way. So the hardscape is really for I guess both. I've set it up for fish to hide and actually be able to get around, but I'm sort of thinking shrimp in here as well. I'd love to have shrimp in here. I'd love to be able to put them in there. You probably near the hoses in the way. I was going to say there's a little tunnel through there. What I've left is a space here though, as you can see, for the sponge filter. This rock, I'll probably have a cover so it sort of goes over the sponge filter, but that will be the only one we move to replace it. But what I'm going to stick down here is a lodia. So the long plants and the long stems, that'll completely cover this sponge filter. So you won't see it from here. It would look like a, part of the scape. From the top, I've tried to give it some decent swim room because, it's a 3-foot tank. I'll actually put the measurements up on the screen now so you've got it. But I wanted to have this area so the fish could actually, particularly if I've got some cories in here, there's a nice space for them to get into. They can hide in the rocks. There'll be some other rocks and some sawasatang and maybe some stuff like that. But then on top of that, so that's this done. Shrimp will fill the rock spaces, obviously, and then the fish, hopefully, that I'm going to choose, maybe something like Danios, or maybe I like the swordtails and a few other things I've got in there that I'm going to sort of donate to the scape. But similarly with this one, a lodia, or maybe some Vallisneria down there. But I really just wanted to get the actual structure done today. I'll get the air going shortly and just show you once it's operating. But for me, I'm pretty happy with that layout. And once that hose is out there, I think you'll get a better perspective and the air's going. So it's been a couple of days since I set that hardscape up, and I've just come back today, literally 2 days, and I've just dropped some Alodia in here. I want the water, the cycle to start going through. It's a great oxygenating plant if you're not aware already. I've also put this other bit of timber in, which I didn't film because I wasn't sure I was going to keep it, but I think I will at the moment. It's been pre-soaked in one of the tubs for ages, and it provides some space up here in this top quarter for them to hide. And I think the fish that I'm thinking of, like swords and so forth, that'll work out well. I've got a patented LRB rock pile there and there. I don't think the shrimp will survive with the fish I'm putting in, but I'm not sure. Again, I haven't decided 100%. I'm still looking at that. So that's how it's ended up now, and you'll see it when it's cleared up. All right, I'm back for day 3. This is all visit 3, and the tank's cleaned up really nicely. I've had a mechanical sponge filter, just a brand new one, going for a couple of days just to take all the garbage out of the water. I've changed the light up, which I will show you the new light that's on there. Basically, the first one didn't work. In fact, that's over here. Basically, this one was the one that I used before. It didn't work as well as I was hoping. It's $19. I was going to get a second one and join them because you can with these particular lights. But then I thought, well, I'm sort of settling. The best thing to do would be to get one of the better and sealed lights. So this is the one now. You'll see it on screen. So this particular light was $42, and for the difference, I thought it was well worth it. And as you can see, I think the tank has come up, pretty well for a couple of days, just settling in, and new light. So I had the Alodia in just to try to soak up any of the ammonia or nitrates that might be in the water at the same time, just not knowing, again, given that the logs have come from ponds, they will have bacteria and decomposing stuff on them. I did give them a hose as well, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. Don't put fish in at least for a week, and it'd be another couple of days before we actually, after we scape it today, that I'll put the fish in. So I'm going to jump into that now, and hopefully the end of it, this should be, I'm going to put the 2 new sponge filters in. They've been in my sump for the last probably 3 weeks now. So I'm going to give them a really good squeeze out in the water that they're in and pop them in, do a water change. They'll be both mechanical and now biological filtration, and we should hopefully have no issues adding the fish. I've already put some snails in, which you've seen, and I've been debating what fish to put in there. I think I'm going to go with a community swordtail. tank, couple of blue acaras. I've got some babies that would be awesome to grow out in here, and I might even put 3, 4, 5 in here just so that we can pick a pair naturally, and then I can pull the others out, and then the family here will be able to go through the process of breeding the acaras. I've no doubt a pair, when they get of age, will breed in here. The other thing I'm going to put in are some stir-by corridoras. I've got a heap, so I think 5 to 7 of those maybe would be probably appropriate for this size tank. They'll also be really active for people when you're walking past. When the lights go out of a night time, it adds that extra dimension. So anyway, I'm going to get into it. Okay, well, I'm pretty happy with it the way it's turned out. It's taken a couple of hours and 2.5 beers. So, what do you think? Not bad, I think, for a first try at scaping it. So it'll clean up, of course. It's a little bit misty, but I'm going to put some more of the finer gravel around here, I think, just to fill this corner in. I want to move maybe a couple more bits of Alodia down here, and the permanent siphon's actually leaking through the valve, so I've got to change that. This is where I think the stir-bys will hang out, because I've decided that because my neighbours' family love the stir-bys and the cories, we're going to put them in there, and I've also got a little cave in here for them. So preparation when you're doing your hardscape for finalisation of the overall picture is important, because the functionality now, obviously the hole through there is accessible for the fish, be it shrimp or cories under there. This is the open space for the cories to get into. They'll be breeding up this side if they breed on this glass because of the flow, also the number of plants there. And then I've just taken these plants from around my garden. You'll also see now where the Amazon sword, which is this one here, I've only got one of those in this display, but you'll see this stuff here is fine leaf Java fern, and it'll attach to the rocks, and I've got it in a few strategic places. I wouldn't mind some more for here, but there's nowhere to secure it to, and also up here, so I'll work on that. Some Sawassatangas, this stuff over here, and also over here. This is to give it to soften these edges where the rocks and the timber meet, but also to give the babies, be it fish or cories in here, some space to sort of hide. There's also another little cave over here. I don't know if you can see through there. We might be able to see around this side. Nope, I've hidden it, but it goes back into the sponges as well. You can see this sponge filter is probably a little bit better disguised, and once this Alodia goes up here, the vertical rise being black won't be able to be seen too much. So that's it. The new light's in. That might be too bright, but the levels of the kelvins, and also the lumens to get this result. But I'm overall pretty happy. I'm going to give it 48 hours now, I think. 24 we'll see, but maybe 48 hours. I think we'll put some plex in there, some cories, some community swords. I've got some awesome sword tails that I've got in a container. I'm going to try with shrimp, even though I think I'm going to put a pair of electric blue acara in here, or maybe some more, so they'll probably ultimately pick them off. But stocking a new tank, particularly when it's not mine, I like to take the time to add the fish slowly. So the first fish to go in went roughly 24 hours after the setup, and I put some tough fish in there, which are these guys, the bristlenose plecos. There's 3 of them in there. Then it was roughly, I think, 48 hours later, or somewhere around that we added the 8 swordtails into the tank, and these guys took to it very quickly, settled in really well, and they came from a combination of ponds and tanks, so they're quite happy in there. Then roughly 24 hours later, I added these guys, the stir-by corridoras. Fantastic little fish. Great addition to the bottom of the tank, any tank. And then last but not least, 3 electric blue Acaras. These guys are my babies and I bred them. So I'm super happy that they're going to go to such a cool tank and someone's going to look after them so well. Plus I'm just across the road.
So the fish will settle in there for a while. I've got complete confidence that the Acaras are going to feel at home pretty much by tomorrow and start bossing everyone around. The Cories are pretty much already at home, which is fantastic to see. I love Cories. They're just so confident, those little catfish, little dudes. I think the scape has done what I wanted it to do, which was to fill out enough space to have hiding places. A bit cloudy still, obviously, but that's I've just fed the tank as well. So there's enough void space here for the fish to get in and out, but they really like the big structure in here to be able to hide. I have no doubt within a couple of days to a week, the Acaras will be at the top up here begging for food. If you're into wet pets, these guys are as personable as the betas and probably not quite as much as the Oscars, but not far from it. So that's Ziggy outside, he's playing with Riley. From the perspective of, did it achieve the goal that I wanted it to? Yeah, I think so. I think it's really quite beautiful from all sides. And this is in a main feature room in the house as well, just off from the kitchen and the living room. So I'm pretty happy with what was the pre-planning to end up with that. And I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Okay, so that's another video done. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a really fun one to make. I've loved every second of actually putting that together. Hunting for the hardscape, doing all the stuff, getting my mate involved. The whole family loves this fish tank and so do I. So I hope you do. I'd really love to hear from you in the comments. I'd love you to subscribe. It means the world to me that you guys are actually interested in the content and what I make and what I do. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Ziggy's outside, he's actually playing with Riley. I couldn't get him in even if I had a lead on him. So anyway, you'll see some of him in the bloopers, I'm sure. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye for now.
G'day everyone, welcome back to my place. One, it'll be. So they're also the same neighbours that a few videos ago you would have found. So anyway, best go. First take, how good's that? I don't do them often. What I thought I'd do is check my microphone. Take you through the actual build that I'm gonna, or the actually use those skills that it takes to actually. Oh my, what a surprise! Hey, come here, Zig. Oh, oh. Come on, Sheriff, let's go. Yeah, that wasn't very nice, was it? Okay, the day has finally arrived. So, hello, Riley. That's all right, that can go on the bloopers.